Thank you. Wow. I can't wait to hear what I have to say. First of all, let me thank Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA for putting together the single most important meeting in conservative movement history. You know, Dwight Eisenhower was president of the United States when I was born. He was a great president. He brought us unprecedented peace and prosperity. I had the privilege of working on 2 campaigns for Richard Nixon, 3 campaigns for Governor, later President Ronald Reagan, worked for one of the greatest Americans of the 20th century, Senator Bob Dole. But I'm here to tell you that I traveled 2,339,000 miles to tell you that Donald J. Trump is the greatest president of my lifetime. There are rare times in American history when the future of the country, when the future of our democratic republic lies on one man. It was true of George Washington. It was true of Abraham Lincoln. And today it is true of Donald Trump. It was in 1988 that I first recognized that Donald Trump had the size, I don't mean the physical size, but the stature, the guts, the stamina, the courage, and the independence to not just be a great candidate for president, to be one of our greatest presidents ever. And the record will show that he brought us unprecedented prosperity, a robust economy, the lowest levels of unemployment among all Americans, black, white, young, old, Asian, Hispanic, rural, urban. He rebuilt our country's military might, which had been allowed to atrophy under Barack Obama. And then, at the beginning, he was subjected to the greatest single dirty trick in American political history. Barack Obama and Joe Biden used the full authority of the United States government based on what they knew was completely fabricated evidence in the Russian collusion hoax to try to illicitly and illegally remove a duly elected president, to spy on him, to destroy his presidency, and to this day, no person has been punished for that treasonous crime. Now, the people who are seeking to lock up and prosecute the leading candidate for the Republican nomination, their political opponent, Donald Trump, the people who have violated the law to use the 702 database to spy on over 5 million Americans, to issue warrantless surveillances against 278,000 Americans, the people who seek to use the intelligence agencies to pressure, although not much pressure was needed, to work with the social media companies to censor and cancel anyone who disagrees with them politically, the people who claim that parents who go to school board meetings because they're concerned with the curriculum being taught to their children are domestic terrorists, those people say Donald Trump would be a threat to democracy. No, folks, the guy who's a threat to democracy is Joe Biden. You know, there was a time in America when this was not always the case. There was actually a time when both major parties believed in America. Both major parties were anti-communist. Both major parties believed in free enterprise and capitalism. Both major parties favored a strong national defense. Both major parties loved the Constitution. Both major parties, well, there was a difference. They wanted to tax more and spend more. We, generally speaking, wanted to tax less and spend less. But I must tell you, that Democratic Party, the Democratic Party of John F. Kennedy, the Democratic Party of Harry Truman, that Democratic Party is dead. And that Democratic Party has been hijacked by a socialist, Marxist band of radicals who are bent on canceling our Constitution and destroying our freedoms. I don't know what you think, but I don't care what they say. I'm not eating any frigging bugs. So let's be very clear about what we face. This is not a coming struggle, the final battle, as President Donald Trump correctly calls it. This is not a fight between Republicans and Democrats. This is not a fight between liberals and conservatives. This is nothing less than a fight between good and evil. A fight between darkness and light. A fight between the godly and the godless. And if we fail, America will step off into 1,000 years of darkness. Ladies and gentlemen, I've known Donald Trump for 45 years. He is the most confident person I have ever known. He's buoyant, he's resilient, he's determined, he's resolute, and with the help of every single person in this room, we are going to win the next election and take America back. But it would be unrealistic for us to think that Donald Trump can do this alone, because he cannot. Which is why we need people like Kari Lake in the United States Senate. It is why we need people like my friend R.J. Majewski in the U.S. Congress. Because, friends, let's be very clear. Our problem today are not the socialist, Marxist, crackpot Democrats. Our problem, in the nutshell, are the feckless, gutless, weak-kneed, spineless, white wine swilling, country club belonging, establishment Republicans who have neither guts nor balls. We need America First Republicans in both houses of Congress to support Donald Trump in his efforts to save this country. Now, people know my story. I was unfairly targeted, unjustly targeted, because I was a 45-year friend of Donald Trump, and when they could not find any evidence of Russian collusion, because indeed none existed, I was pressured relentlessly to offer false testimony, to testify falsely against the president, and I refused. And when it became clear to me that I would not get a fair trial, indeed that I would be gagged, not allowed to publicly defend myself. Boy, does that sound familiar. When all my constitutional rights were essentially stripped from me in the pretrial conditions set forward by the government, I went into a deep depression. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was depressed. I was drinking a little too much. And then it was, based on the advice of Reverend Franklin Graham, that I turned my life back over to Jesus Christ. I was redeemed in the blood of the cross, and it was from that moment on that I knew that Donald Trump would see that I was being unjustly and baselessly prosecuted, essentially because I refused to turn on him, and I received not only a commutation of my sentence, but a full presidential pardon. Thank you, Jesus. Shortly after my pardon, I learned that my wife of now 32 years was diagnosed with extraordinarily aggressive stage 4 cancer. The doctors essentially told her to put her affairs in order. But I'm happy to tell you today, I've had more than one miracle in my life. Thanks to the healing power of Jesus Christ, my wife is 2.5 years cancer-free. Now, as a former Young Republican National Chairman, but more importantly, someone who was the chairman of my college Republican club at George Washington University, I understand what it's like to call a meeting and have 5 people show up. So I say to you on the campuses, you who are on the front lines of this effort to take America back, never quit. Realize how important you are in this extraordinary last battle. People know that my original political mentor was Richard Nixon. Yes, it's true. I have a tattoo on my back. It's about the size of a grapefruit between my shoulder blades. Means actually I'm the only guy you know with a dick on the front and the back. But it is not a political statement. It's a daily reminder that in life, when things don't go your way, when you suffer defeats, when you suffer setbacks, when you're disappointed, that's the time to get up off the canvas, dust yourself, and get back into the game. You see, the story of Nixon is a story of resilience. It's a story of persistence. It's a story that is very American. It was Richard Nixon who said, "The greatness comes not when things go always good for you, but when you take some knocks, some defeats, when sadness comes. Because until one has been in the deepest valley, one cannot appreciate the majesty of God's highest mountaintop." President Nixon also said, "A man is not finished when he is defeated. He is only finished when he quits." I can tell you that in the fight to save America, neither I nor Donald Trump nor anyone in this room will ever quit. God bless you.